Home appraised 110,000 over purchase price. How should I proceed? Enjoy it and close.
Hold on. Here we go.
What are the pros and cons of selling the same year I bought it? Are there any ways to mitigate less than the capital gains tax? Anything else you would recommend instead of selling? The home is in an area that basically just populated by tourists in the summer due to the surrounding lakes and forests. So this looks like the home is, after he purchased it, now it's worth $110,000 more. If he wants to sell it to mitigate taxes, we can't give legal or tax advice, but if you can hang on for 2 years, that might settle. If you're a single person, $250,000. If you're a married couple, $500,000. So that could help you tremendously, and you might want to just hang on to it, especially if it's in an area that's that good. But the other thing is that if you just made $110,000, that's pretty good. Be happy about it. Sometimes paying taxes means a good thing too, that you made money. So.
Agreed. And I think that, like I got a buddy of mine that when he was younger, he would build a house and sell it every 2 years. And he was on that perfect where every year houses were still going up, 6 to 10% a year. And he'd have the profit from the house roll forward. And so eventually, like he said, every fifth house was free. Building conservative homes. He wasn't building these big mansions or anything. And the idea there was taking advantage of the rules. Read the rules, become an expert on them, learn how to capitalize on them for you individually. Like that young lady was talking about earlier in the video about how, the opportunities are different and the people are older. And I think indicative of the way people kind of grew up too. I mean, we were just programmed to, you grow up, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, just that. And nowadays it's a little different where I think there's delayed marriages and no urgency there, and which is probably smart, probably have a lower divorce rate.
Let's talk about that, Andy, because I think that's pretty interesting. What you're saying is that, so in the old days, what the taxes used to say was that you could move up in houses and not get taxed as long as you continued to move up in the houses. And at 55, one time, you could get $150,000 deduction off of that. So if you made $400,000 over the time, you could take $150,000 off and you get taxed on $250,000. Now the tax laws read, as a single person, every 2 years, as long as you lived and maintained that home and lived in it 2 of the previous 5 years. So you could have owned it for 2 years and rented it for 2.5 years, and you can still get up to $250,000 as a single person tax-free. You don't have to go buy another house. You don't have to do anything. Or you could go buy another house and do the same thing over and over. So there's an unbelievable tax advantage now that there wasn't when we were growing up either.
Well, I mean, and not to dumb it down, but I mean, honestly, if you think about building a $300,000 house, and let's say you can build it for $250,000. You save that $50,000. So you actually buy a house for $300,000, and then when you sell it, let's say for $400,000. Now you have $150,000 of equity to roll forward, and then you make profit on the next one and you build it, equity on the next one and you build it. So you can see how that kind of snowballs into keep moving, keep building. So if you're ambitious enough and you want to do something like that, I think it's a great way to do it. It's just making a plan and acting on it, right?